Okay, so I'm hopping back onto the wall, and well, I saw all of this, and the whole durability thing is a bit annoying, and the resources doesn't really feel necessary. Everything else is fine, I guess, but I don't know. That just annoyed me a little bit that you dropped half your resources and all of that. I watched a little bit of Chippy, after I played, and, well, he joined that off too. And I think, Captain Sparkles went with full default settings. But anyways, I haven't made the base yet at all. Okay, there we go. My fist finally loaded in. And my pickaxe broke. Woo! Okay, well, I'll be back when I get the base, and then I learned that there is different zones. Right now we're on the Emerald Wilds. And if you don't know, this is the first zone, which doesn't really have much. But as far as I'm aware, if we go to the second zone, which is the desert zone, we will get thorium. If we go to the blue zone, I believe that's where we get cobalt. And if we go to the last zone, which is like a lava volcano zone, we will get other good things from it. So after I do this, we're going to probably go loot some structures in different zones after we kill the skeleton. But yeah, we're going to go explore. So I'll be back when I have the base set up. So this is going to be my little base of operations. It is completely fenced off. One small problem. Jump height, for the player at least, is 2 blocks. And we have a vault mechanic, so I can just jump over it like no problem. I'm not sure if anything else will be able to jump over it with no problem. But sometimes it doesn't even let you jump over it, so I'll just jump over it like that. Okay, it seems to only allow me to jump over it from this side into the fence, but not out of the fence, which is strange. But yeah. So that is something to note. Something might eventually just pop in and say hello to us. Anyways, I'm just gonna collect some wonderful wheat. No. Okay, I have no clue why it sometimes lets you jump over it. They need to fix that. But then we also have our farming supplies over here. So we have feed bag for animals. Then we also have shears. Can be used to shear sheep and harvest various you get the point. Then we got some like other things we can make. We got lettuce and that seeds, and seemingly you can churn crops directly into life essence. And there's potatoes! Woo! So yeah, farming seems to be maybe a decent way to get food if you need it. Memories is disabled in this content. Okay. All of that seems to be disabled. We go to memories, we have all of this. And we churn the green crystals, you know, the ones that we got when we were mining emeralds. Turns out you can make them into crystal blocks. They give off some light. They look kind of cool, you know. So I went ahead and put them on top of some ornate stone using this. So basically how this works is you put this in there. It tells you everything you can craft using it. Put the stone in here, ornate stone. Or you can make stone bricks or whatever. And plant fiber is only used for rope. So yeah, that's how that works. I guess all of this is not done yet. Woo! It turns out I did not have enough charcoal. Exciting. So we'll go take the charcoal from here, and we'll go throw it into here. I guess we'll go chop some trees down. I think we left some wood in here, but yeah, we'll go chop some trees down. And just get like a stack for every furnace at this rate. Can only jump over this side. I don't even know. Let's just leave a bunch of sticks at home. Leave that at home. Go ahead and just pop in a stack of that. 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 Get our iron. Get our iron. Get our iron. Okay, there's some lights over here. I wonder if 45 degrees makes you go faster in this. Ah, I see we found some orange crystals instead of green ones. Rainbow trout. Where? Oh, there we go. Bap, bap, bap. Dead. Okay, that one just gives you crystal shards. So I'm assuming this will should just give me crystal shards. Yep. Ooh, gold? Is that what this is? That's pretty good. I thought I was going to have to go to a different area to get gold. There we go, some light hide. I guess let's go this way. Okay, we just get a bunch of moss. Yeah, fight me. Bomb. Ooh. I like all the gems. I'm going to be confiscating them now. Yeah, sorry, this is my chest like this. I'm going to chest in here. Got like hyper kits. Yeah, we got lots of stuff. Let's go ahead and apple. And take the crystals. And to take the red crystals, we're going to go ahead and drop them all petals. Because he needs those. Okay. There's a bat. Bats don't drop anything. Cool. Then we have some more men. Okay. 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 I literally cannot place a torch. But yeah, in this mine shaft there seems to just be 3 deposits of stuff, which is pretty cool. Okay. 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 I'm not sure if their AI actually can tell whether or not I'm blocking or I'm attacking, since they do often attack me when I'm blocking. But yeah, no, that was definitely not very well timed. But that should be giving us lots of linen scraps, so we should be good on linen scraps now. That's definitely very ominous. Anyways, as you can see, these things grow a pretty nice green. Ah, come on, just let me climb this one. Why do I have to climb it on this side? I don't know. Okay, well, let's go ahead and... There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and cure up all this leather. We got 20 leather, nice. And I realized we no longer have our food making station, which we have to make in this crafting. Yep, cooking pot. Bob. Throw that in, throw in... I don't even know. Hold on. Let's just empty my inventory real quick.
Just to save us some time, I am going to go ahead and just voice over this part. So basically, all I'm doing is organizing chests. I have it at 2x speed. So, yeah, this took me a second. I cooked up some food, I cooked up some iron and stuff, and we'll be back when I get a full set of iron. I don't want to go to the new places until I have, a full set of iron and stuff, just because, I just felt like it. Mainly because I want to experience fully what this game has to offer, and part of that fully what it has to offer, I want to explore every single POI. I want to use every single tool and weapon. I want to do a little bit of everything. And then, honestly, at the end of, this little mini-series of me, gathering stuff and probably making, the highest tier of equipment, I'm going to give my thoughts at the end of what I think they should fix, what they should do, etc., etc. But, anyways, we'll skip ahead to when I get 4 iron gear.
Back. This is how much iron and copper we have left. We have a few gold, we have a few silver, we have basically no light leather, no medium leather, and literally 1 heavy leather. Yeah, we got some void essence, some fire essence, a void hat, which was a very lucky drop I found out from killing the void eyes, as I killed 2-3 more void eyes and I didn't get another one, so I don't know what the % chance was, but it was definitely lucky to get it the first time around. Otherwise I think we're pretty set. We have some basic resources right here. We have some repair kits. We went ahead and made new iron equipment just because every time you repair it, it loses 10% of its durability. We went ahead and brought 5 repair kits. Our backpack is empty. We have stamina potions. We have 1 lesser health potion. I did try and make some bread for the fact that we don't have that. So we made 5 flour, which, yes, flour cost 10 wheat. But to make dough we need eggs. Don't know how to get eggs. And then we need water bucket, which I do believe we have a bucket in one of these chests, yeah.
So I'm going to interject just to save a little bit of time, but I did try and get an egg from a chicken. I tried making feed. I tried giving it seeds. It didn't want seeds. It didn't want feed. I don't know what they eat. I don't know how to get an egg. I'm not sure if you have to feed them to get an egg. I tried a bucket oso. Bucket oso didn't work. No clue how to get an egg. Maybe they haven't implemented it yet, is my thought process. But no clue how to make bread. So, just to save us a bit of time, I tried a few different things. Nothing seemed to work. I spent like 10 minutes on this. So, I'll just save us some time. To save us a little bit more time, the feed said it lures animals. I wasn't able to feed it to any animals. Having it in my hand was not luring the sheep, was not luring the chickens, did not lure cows. Don't know what the feed is for. Maybe they haven't implemented its use yet. But then I presumed it was like they will come to it if it's on the floor thing, since I wasn't able to feed it to them. And to save us time on this, nothing came into this pit. Nothing even was attracted to it when I put it next to the sheep or anything. Don't know what it's for. Once again, it is early access. Everything's subject to change. Maybe I'm using it wrong. I do not know. But I made 2 feed bags, and yeah, nothing cared that much about it. So, yeah, saving us time on that too. And then I went ahead and I saw that you can make cheese just by getting a bucket of milk. I managed to get a bucket of milk once it got out of the water, just like that. Got a nice bucket of milk, and as you can see, I also got poop. And then the poop just vanished from my inventory. I guess that's a bug or something, but that was just kind of goofy. And to save us a little bit of time, I did go ahead and make the milk into cheese. Cheese is just as good as bread. If you don't know, bread gives you 15 health instantly, versus meat that only gives you 10 health instantly. But the downside is it doesn't give you any health boost, stamina boost, or regen boost. It's just an instant amount of health, which I was planning on using to actually, heal, and only use the meat and the veggies for the effects instead of to heal. But yeah, you can't milk a cow multiple times, or at least it didn't let me milk the cow multiple times. So, just to save us time, I got 1 piece of cheese that I eventually threw out before I can even use. So, yeah. Now, knowing that there is a tier 2 area where we're supposed to find thorium, I went ahead and looked at the map. I see a desert-looking area down that way. So I'm like, ooh, I also found the gateway, if you see me circling that with my mouse right there. So I decided to go that way, to go ahead and get ourselves, well, some thorium. I also realized that I need azure logs to be able to upgrade my, I believe it's the blacksmith or the armorsmith. It was the armorsmith. The armorsmith needed the azure logs, so we went to go get the azure logs. Also, as you can see, it's the big blue biome. We ended up going to the little small blue biome, towards the ocean instead, just because that happened to be the way that I ended up going. My initial plan was to go to the big one, but, I'm not going to complain too much, since we did get enough logs, and there wasn't much of a problem or hiccup or anything. Anyways, I will now cut to when we venture closer. So now we have ventured closer, we went ahead and we got some mushrooms, and we found out that bears exist inside the aspen forest. And they do a lot of damage, even when you block, as you can see how much energy it wasted via the block. If you didn't know, blocking makes where you take energy instead of damage, but the energy is proportionate to how much damage you would have taken. So yeah, it's a pretty quick way to lose energy. Now we went ahead and just looted this temple, because we might as well. So I'll go back to live me.
Wow, I think this might be a little bit of a glitch. They might want to fix that. Oh, that's goofy. Oh, it's just floating too. Oh, that's funny. So there seems to be really two strategies to fighting enemies, and those two strategies are to either back up to dodge or to block to dodge. Backing up is definitely a lot more consistent, or blocking is definitely a lot more consistent, but backing up is definitely easier to do. And if you have a bigger weapon, two-handed one, it's probably the only thing you can do. You could definitely say this one definitely looks a lot more forgotten than the other one, with literally a tree growing in the middle of it.
So moving on to something that's actually wasn't too far away. We went ahead and just went to the forest to get azure leaf or azure logs. Initially I didn't realize that we needed an entire stack. We don't have to come back to grab a stack, but I just figured I should mention this because when we were heading back from the desert back to my base, I did end up grabbing a stack, thinking, you know, might as well grab a stack, and it turned out we needed exactly a stack, so I'm very happy that I got that. I'm not really sure if that's much of a spoiler. If you just see the upgrade tab in it, you would see that we need a stack, which is 100 in this game, unlike Minecraft. Anyways, this is pretty close to the desert. You could just see it in the background right there. All of the deserty blocks, we'll call them. So let's just cut to the desert. So we decided to, instead of going up the hill, not only explore the fact that lobsters exist in this, but so do crabs, as you will see here in a second. They also just drop raw fish. Nothing else notable. Initially I thought they were the one dropping chitin, but it turns out the things that drop chitin are actually just in the desert biome. A lot of the things in the desert biome drop chitin. Speaking of which, you need a lot of chitin. I wish I got a little bit more when I was there. Anyways, now as I decide, we're just going to go. Oh yeah, we're looking for the lava biome right now, which is the last tier biome, and I noticed this little patch, which is more than likely the lava biome that we're after eventually. So now we know where the lava biome is. All we need to do is find a winter biome, and as far as I'm aware, those are the only, well, technically I call them biomes, but they're zones in this game, but those are the only zones in-game right now, I believe, is the desert, the wilds, the tundra, and the volcano place. Anyways, because we haven't seen the desert yet, I'm gonna go cut to live commentary me to check this out.
Okay, we have a pufferfish and a snake. Okay, I guess it drops some venom sacs and stuff. Is this tar? I don't know what this is. Yeah, no, that thing looks disgusting. Actually. What? Oh, I have poison. Just go ahead and eat that. I'm surprised the snake doesn't poison you. I can't tell if this is tar, quicksand, or if it's like oil or something. Definitely seems to slow you down. Can I mine it? No. I don't have a bucket either, so... Hey, there we go. I'm pretty sure, if I am not mistaken, this is thorium. Indeed, I am correct. Alright, we got a sandstorm that seemingly just disappears and then comes back. Huh? Food. Give me. Thank you. Okay, there we go. We have sandstorm. We also have saber-toothed tiger. Is this going to give me heavy hide? Oh, okay. So he just destroyed my shield like there was nothing. Bop, bop, bop. 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 Okay, we got some medium hide. Okay, he dropped some medium hide. Keep that in mind. Throw the aspen logs away. Probably not going to get much more of those. And sturdy chitin. Okay, so that's what that is. That is required. So I guess we do have to kill crabs and stuff. Do these guys also drop sturdy chitin? Oh no. No, but it does drop medium hide. Camel. Camel seems to have dropped light hide, which is surprising because I'm pretty sure they do have thick hide. Oh, okay, well it just spawned out of nowhere. If we just go like this around it. Oh, it's dropping raw beef also. Okay, so I guess they drop beef.
To save us a little bit more time, I went ahead and just found this encampment, in which case I cooked some food in it, and then I found another encampment nearby, and then like a little cathedral, or not cathedral, like a gladiator arena, I guess. Kind of looks like one. I found that, and then I went ahead and went off to go to the mines. To add a little bit more to the story, it turns out that the beef turns into just cooked meat. I don't know why. Maybe you could use it for different recipes if you had a stove instead of just a campfire. But anyways, let's get to that gladiatorial arena. Now, first things first, actually, I just wanted to show this. You see the shell on the left? Yeah, I did too. I was like, what is that? And it turns out the camels can hide in shells. I thought that was pretty funny, kind of cool. Kind of reminds me of like Goombas for some reason, out of all things. Just figured I should show that before we head off to this like gladiatorial arena right over here, which just basically has skeletons and stuff, all cut to live reaction meat.
Maybe it is oil that we saw initially. Okay, these guys seem to have more range than I do. Is there some magic we can use? They have more range, but it doesn't seem like they have more health. Let's take the yellow crystals. What is this? Where'd it go? Oh, right there. Yellow mushroom shelf. Okay. I don't know why it's strong enough that I need an axe to do that. Okay, mushroom skewered. Some of that, some of that. We get copper equipment. We'll go ahead and just put the horizontal stuff there. Well, I'm happy I cleared out my inventory beforehand, because we definitely seem to be getting a lot of stuff. We do want heavy leather. We'll get rid of that. Do we need a stamina potion? Not right now, at least. I haven't needed any stamina potions. Especially since stamina seems to come back pretty fast, honestly.
And then spent the next 3 minutes just kind of going around and looting it, so I just sped it up 5 times. I was struggling to figure out how to get up for some reason. I don't know why. But eventually, I went ahead and just climbed my way up. There was one last guy left, and most of the stuff seems to be a lot of copper equipment, which isn't too useful to me since I did spend the time to actually grind out some iron equipment, which seems to just be better.
Nice. Good for us. I wonder if you can water bucket clutch in this, or no. Ouch.
With that thought aside, we decided to instead go ahead and just cook up all of the meat that we were getting from the camel, since we did want leather. We needed a lot of leather. I was also scared to set my spawn here, because I wasn't sure if it was going to remove my spawn from my other place. I did find out later that it does not actually remove your spawn. I did figure out something funny. You can cook wheat, and it will turn into skewered vegetables. So I guess in this game, wheat counts as veggies. Just a little fun thing I decided to say, which we will show right. Just opened the furnace already. Anyways, otherwise, we did get more than one stack of azure logs to go in with. We eventually did burn them all in a furnace. As a slight spoiler, it turns out that smelting is just expensive as frick. Anyways, as you can see, it turns into roasted veggies, which is just kind of funny to me, that wheat counts as a vegetable. Anyways, now let's head towards nighttime. The reason why I actually decided to spend nighttime instead of just, sleeping through it is, once again, because you need to have the bed set up to be able to sleep in it, and not feeling like removing my other bed, I went ahead and, or at least in my head, originally I thought I was going to remove my original bed. I just decided to go ahead and not sleep. Then I also decided, because I saw a void eye, hey, this might be a good way to get void hearts. Also turns out any void enemy is able to drop a void heart. It's not just the void eyes like I initially thought, as I did have one of the little crawly void guys, whatever you call them, the ones that kind of remind you of Call of Duty zombies. It turns out they can also drop void hearts, and one did. This guy also seems to be completely immune to arrows, as arrows just go right past him, but he is not immune to my fantastic phantasmal sword. He also seems to be kind of weak. So we did get one extra void heart from all of this, after we go ahead and shoot that guy. But what I did find out doing this is that void hearts are a little bit rarer than I thought. I thought it was going to be like a 10% drop or something, but I ended up killing quite a bit of enemies, and I only got one extra one. On top of that, bows don't seem to have too much range to them, which I find interesting, because it's very different from Minecraft. Bows seem to go really fast at first, but then after a certain amount of range, they just seem to kind of fall down, kind of like how some other games have bows and stuff do. I just thought it was interesting to mention. But as you can see, there's tons of void eyes around everywhere. So, anyways, let's head towards the mines once the morning hits. Okay, actually, there's two little sidetrack things, one of which is that one just dropped the void heart. I just decided I should show the clip, so these guys can also drop void hearts. And then I also went ahead and there's a structure to my left, if you guys saw that. And I actually looted that first, so let's head to that. So we went ahead and did this. Something I actually want to talk about the enemies. The enemies don't seem to be too difficult to avoid damage, whether you block them or whether you move backwards. Some of the enemies, such as these dagger enemies, is much easier to block than it is to move backwards, while something like a bear, because they do, like, at least in my experience, when you're blocking, they can two-shot through your shield, and then you no longer can block with your shield until you get stamina back, which makes it a little bit more difficult. And they're not too difficult to just walk a little bit backwards, and usually they miss their hit. But then some enemies, like the dagger ones, is much easier to just block, since they can hit you from further away. Especially ranged projectiles, it's much easier to just block ranged projectiles. But yeah, they're pretty easy to avoid damage, but when they actually end up hitting you, a lot of them do a decent amount of damage, and that's saying something, since I am in full iron right now. In the zone where you're supposed to be in full iron. Admittedly, it might scale or something, but yeah, I'm in full iron. I still don't know what the black liquid is, as you can see. I'm like going around looking, but looking at this and everything makes me think that it might be tar versus oil, because this looks like a tar pit. So I still don't know what it is. I think it's tar, if you guys were curious. But anyways, let's head towards that mine shaft. So I just wanted to note something. In the desert, you can find a lot of ores above ground. I was finding cobalt. As you can see, it said +7 cobalt in the corner if you were paying close attention. But cobalt is supposed to be found in the winter tundra biome. If you read its description, everything, it says found in the winter tundra biome. But I was just finding it left, right, and center in here, in the mine shaft. So I believe you can find it in the mine shaft, but anytime I went outside the mine shaft, I did not find like any cobalt. It was only in the mine shaft. There was just abundance of cobalt. As you can see, there's cobalt over there. There was going to be more cobalt down below. But yeah, cobalt seems to be just a little bit of everywhere inside this mine shaft. I'll just show some like clips of tons of cobalt. So before we actually show cobalt, let's just show bad decision making. Yeah, let's go to live reaction me for this.
Ouch. We don't have any blocks. Okay. Well, we just avoided them all somehow. Okay, now they're just coming in one by one. Okay, there we go.
As I said, now we're going to go ahead and look at all of like the big veins of cobalt, and this is definitely quite a lot of cobalt, just everywhere, honestly. So let's show a new clip. So this is 2x speed, as you can see from there. There's a lot of cobalt around also, but I ended up just mining some of the silver instead, because there's also lots of silver around. Went ahead and just cut to when I was mining some silver, and I ended up on a couple of enemies, and I started to use the daggers instead of the whatchamacallit, the sword. The daggers seem to be kind of mediocre. I should say the actual daggers themselves seem to be mediocre in terms of like damage. Basically they do like an interesting combo where they do 3 damage, 4 damage, then they do 11 damage, and then they do 12 damage. And then it resets, and you go back down to 3 damage, 4 damage, etc., etc. And it just keeps repeating that. But it's interesting because it's not like a reliable amount of damage, but it's also not like a bad amount of damage. I think the DPS of it is higher than a sword, but you have to hit every single hit, or at least hit the ones that do 11 damage and 12 damage for it to actually be worth it. They have a little bit less range than a sword, but what I found out is their charge attack is really good, and so is the Q attack. The Q attack is also really good. So I'll try and show a clip of that here in a second. So for context, this is like 16 minutes later while I'm trying to smelt some stuff and I'm gathering wood, and I see this giant scorpion. As you can see, the charge attack lunges you forward, deals like 40 damage, and then also lunges you backwards, which makes it really good for taking out enemies, as you do, technically it's 39 damage, but you do 39 damage by lunging forward, so you don't have to be within melee range of them, and then it lunges you backwards before they can hit you. And admittedly, it takes quite a bit of energy to use, as you can only use it about like 3 times before you have to wait for it to recharge. Actually, twice before you have to wait for it to recharge. But a lot of smaller enemies, like orcs and stuff, it will just straight up one-shot them. I also found that, I think it was, snakes have 40 health. 40 health. So, exactly enough to just survive the daggers. So all you have to do is charge hit them once and then just stab them, and you'll kill them pretty fast. But yeah, high burst damage, long lunge, and also pulls you back into safety. Really good. Better than the sword. The sword does less damage. I think it only does like 25 damage or 27 damage with an iron sword, I believe. But then it lunges you into the danger, which isn't always what you want. But the fact that it doesn't do, like 40 damage instead of does like 25 damage is a massive difference. Otherwise, the rest of the daggers is kind of just mediocre, I would say. It's mainly the lunge that carries it. Also, its special ability is much better. It slices and then it stabs, and I believe the slice does like 40 damage, and then the stab also does 40 damage. And if you line it up perfectly, you can get both the stab and the slice and the stab into one thing, and it will just destroy things, because that's just like 80 damage right off the rip, which is really good. Compared to the swords, which is mediocre. I think it does like 30 damage a hit, so it's 60, because you do a slash and then you do like a stab. But anyways, yeah, I just figured I should mention all of that. Now, a slight gripe I want to get to is how furnaces, right? Well, not furnaces, actually. Ores. So when you mine ores, right, you get an ore. Every single thing you mine. But in hytale, right, things stack to 100, usually. But ore stacks to 25. So that means to realistically get, like, a stack of ore is 25. To get a stack of bars is 100. You need to take up 4 times the inventory slots. 4 times to have just 1 stack of it when you actually eventually smelt it. Which is crazy. So this is why I'm trying to smelt all of my ores down while I'm here. Just so that way I can actually have the inventory space to bring back all of like the seed packets and stuff that I'm finding. I'm not sure how useful seed packets are, but maybe eventually they'll be useful. I'm assuming they are meant for like the alchemy station, so that way you can make potions. which we do eventually make towards the end of this video. But yeah, it's just like, it's crazy. Let me put it that way. But as you can see, there's just cobalt everywhere. And in fact, inside the mine shaft, there was like not very much thorium. And if you're wondering what the green glow is, that is an emerald. That's because I don't have the inventory space for the emerald. So I just went ahead and just placed it on the floor. So that way it wouldn't despawn. It would just stay there. Nice green light. But yeah, I'm just gathering logs, trying to smelt down all of the ores. And I kid you not, this took forever. So for future reference, for me and anybody who wants to play this, make sure that you go ahead and you actually bring logs to smelt this stuff. So desperate times call for desperate measures. I went ahead and used my azure logs because I don't want to use my oak ones. I left my oak ones for crafting just in case I needed it. I didn't, but yeah, I'm just using the azure logs in both of those furnaces and using the charcoal in the last one, because the charcoal is supplied fast enough from 2 furnaces for it to be able to be constantly smelting the 3rd furnace. I guess that's a little tip or trick if you guys ever play. But yeah, my inventory space is just being like plummeled by how much stuff we have. Even my backpack is full. And this could have all been avoided. All of it. If Hypixel or Simon just decided to make it 100. Just the ores stacked to 100. Instead of 25. Why must they do this? Even if they just stacked to like 50, it would be so much better than this. Because why is it only 25? It's just... I'm griping a little bit too much, but yeah. I also found out that brown mushrooms make you bounce, which is just a little bit funny. I just figured I should add that to this whole thing.
So I was just smelting, and I just see, quickly see which ones I can smelt. You can smelt gold ingots? Nope, doesn't seem to work. Okay. Maybe that's like a future thing that they're going to implement or something, but it doesn't seem to be working right now, at least. We got all of the cobalt we found smelted up. Now we're just going to go ahead and smelt up all of the gold and such.
You might have noticed in the last clip that I only have half the amount of sticks that I originally had, which was 100, a stack of sticks. Yes, I did sacrifice half a stack of sticks to go ahead and smelt some stuff, just like I sacrificed the azure logs. I also eventually sacrificed half my sap and half my plant fiber, also to the whims of that. Now, something I actually did learn that is very interesting to me is tree sap is actually a really good fuel source, surprisingly. It's probably second best to wood. Charcoal is not nearly as good as wood. And cut, like grass or plant fiber, whatever it's called, is, it burns really quickly, which means you lose it pretty fast, but it also produces a lot of charcoal very fast. So if you do want charcoal for anything, burn plant fiber. It is probably the fastest way to get some charcoal, honestly. So yeah, just try that out. So I went ahead and wanted to check if like underground, like deep underground, is the same as it was in other things. So I went ahead and did, and I found that the deep underground is also just like, it looks like the same structure that I've seen a million times when I was on the underground. It just has, thorium. And as you can see in this area, there is no cobalt, there's only thorium, so I'm pretty sure you can only really find cobalt, if you're in the desert, only in the mine shaft area. Otherwise, you only will find thorium. I also found out that if you just mine those, like, floating logs, they will just, roots, they will just give you, like, a bunch of wood, and you don't even need to chop the top or the bottom. You just need to chop something on there, and it will just collapse the rest of it. Having PTSD from the frog, I just decided to, like, dip, and I forgot to sprint. And finally I remembered to sprint. But yeah, frogs are probably, as far as I can tell, the scariest single mob there is. And heck, if there's two of them, even in iron armor, I'm not sure if I could deal with them. The fact that they only give you medium hide is kind of goofy. I thought they would honestly give you heavy hide with how strong they are. I decided to also, as I smelted up all of the stuff, just kind of like leave all the furnaces and stuff, just as like a base of operation, but also just to save me inventory space, you know. I wanted to bring all the seed packets, and as you can see, there's a lack of seed packets in my inventory. That is because I put them all into that little chest over there, right there. As you can see, the high roller chest. That's where I put all the seed packets. I do eventually X-file with all of them, but that's not for a little while. So, yeah, we ended up getting a stack and a third of thorium, and we ended up getting a stack and a half of cobalt. Now, let's go ahead and head back to base. So now we finally left it. As you can see, it's just right there. But then I noticed on the map two things. One of which is it doesn't show you everywhere you've explored, and only shows you everywhere that is currently rendered, which I found kind of interesting. I guess it's for performance reasons, but yeah, it shows you every place that's rendered. But I also noticed, I believe when I opened the map again or something, that is in fact a forgotten temple gateway. And I thought this might be able to fast travel me. Also, fun little thing, you see the cactuses? I felt bad for killing them last time, so I decided not to. And yeah, turns out they act like weeping angels. Very fun. Except if you do attack one, the other one will just run away like that. I just wanted to double confirm that they do look like weeping angels, came close to it, doesn't do anything, turned my back, and what you know. And funny little thing is, even though I was expecting that, that did still jump scare me slightly when I got attacked. But anyways, let's head off to fight this golem. But of course, first, the loot. I understand why there's only copper leggings inside of here, but it still disappointed me. The reason why there's only copper leggings is really because, you know, the mine shaft was giving me, like, iron stuff, but it's down below, and there was lots of skeletons, and very scary. While this, I was easily able to, like, loot it without even having to, like, churn an eye at all, because the golem just didn't care. I was assuming that this guy was going to drop a blue emerald. And also, I forgot to say, it's not just a slash and then like a stab. It's like a slash and then a stab. But anyways, I thought the golem was going to drop an emerald, and I found out there's supposed to be sapphires in the game, but they haven't implemented them yet. So I'm assuming it's eventually going to instead give me a sapphire. I also found that the, like, charged dagger-like attack is actually pretty good for mobility. And if you jump at the right time when you use it, as you saw right there, you can jump really high. It's pretty cool. Yeah. I also figured out it is not a fast travel at all, as we will see when I go back through the portal. Now I'm heading back through the portal. jumped through, and I was hoping it was going to tell me, choose an area you want to go to. Well, it didn't. Also, I found it slightly funny. Not this. I found it slightly funny that I actually don't think I went in through an intended entrance, as I realized when I exited. Oh yeah, I also figured out that I could just store that linen cloth. But anyways, you see, that's where I entered. From there, I think this is where the true entrance is supposed to be. I'm still not sure if this is meant to be an entrance. I mean, it does have like the little cover and everything, so maybe it is, but it's just kind of goofy, in my opinion, that it's like that. But yeah, daggers are low-key probably the funnest looking weapon. I highly doubt anything else will be able to top how well these things look. Next episode, I will be using a different weapon made of iron too, just so that way we keep like the same consistency of like damage and stuff. But as you can see, the saber-tooth can't even hit me when I'm doing that. And these bugs are honestly the most annoying thing inside the desert, as they fly above you. You can't really hit them with your sword, so you have to shoot them with a bow. They poison you, they have a ranged attack, and they also look kind of creepy. I'm not even going to lie to you. But anyways, we'll start heading back towards base. As I alluded to before though, we did went ahead and set a respawn point's name right here. So now we do have that bed to respawn at. Now initially I thought it got rid of my original home as I didn't see it. But as I go this way, eventually it will show back up on the map. It just didn't show it for this meantime. I think what happens, maybe potentially, is that it shows you like where the closest respawn point is, versus showing you all of the respawn points that you have. But anyways, let's just start heading back to base. And of course, I chopped down these trees like I mentioned before, throwing out my oak logs, just to be able to bring back one entire stack of them, only to realize that's the exact amount I needed, and I was very happy to bring back an entire stack. Anyways, back to base, because nothing really interesting happened while I was going back, besides fighting some bears to get some heavy leather. And as you can see, they do like half your health and damage. But of course the daggers are overpowered and literally 3-shotted it. I'm not sure if any weapon will be able to top what the daggers can do. We'll see. But the daggers seem kind of slightly busted. Just a little bit. So I went ahead and got back to base. This low-key took me like 5 minutes. I mean, it's not too far away, but it definitely took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. But as you can see, you can just like do a super dash above this place. Also, for some reason the vaulting stopped working for a little while, so that's actually how I mainly got into my base and stuff. I just kind of organized some chests, put like the seeds in there, and yada yada. I'll be back whenever I'm done with that. We went ahead and decided to use a few of the leathers and the chitin to go ahead and just upgrade the tanning station. This makes it work twice as fast and gives it one extra slot to put stuff into, which is nice, I guess, maybe. I'm not really sure if you put chitin into this tanning rack, but you definitely use it to upgrade it. Assuming it works like the workbench, when you break it, you will get all of the resources back from upgrading it, which is very convenient. It means that you can get the resources back and just have like that as like a little down payment for right then, right there. It's really good when you go, off and away and you have to make like a tier 2 workbench. When you destroy the tier 2 workbench, you'll get the materials back instead of a tier 2 workbench, which is nice because then when you get back to base, assuming you already have a tier 2 workbench, you don't have, now 2 tier 2 workbenches, which would just be annoying. Instead you have the resources, which is arguably more valuable to you if you already have a tier 2 workbench. Anyways, we do have lots of cobalt, lots of thorium, And for some reason, I didn't make any like thorium pickaxes or cobalt pickaxes. Also, originally I thought cobalt was better than thorium, but looking at it stat-wise, they are about the same. The only difference in terms of at least the armor is that the cobalt gets you basically like bonus damage using your signature ability for the weapon. In which case, for the daggers, that is the jump, stab, and then back up, which is really cool. But it's only like 3% for like the helmet, 6% for the chest plate, and like 3% for the gauntlets, and I think 6% for the legs, which in total does equal out to what, 12, 15, 18 bonus damage, which is not anything to scoff at, but it's also not like that much more. But they do, at least when they do stab, they do more damage, and they already do a decent amount of damage. If I actually calculate that, assuming it's more like 20%, so 40, 20%, like that's like 48 damage, I want to say roughly, which is nothing to scoff at. Eventually we did make this. We see that we can make a teleporter. It uses some azure logs, so we do need to get more of those eventually. I have no idea how to get azure kelp, but maybe eventually we'll find out. Then this is where I figured out that that one golem probably should have dropped a sapphire instead, as if we go to the frost staff eventually. Eventually I look at the frost staff. As you can see, it uses a sapphire, and then the flame staff uses a ruby, but they also say that they're under development right now, so actually only the fire staff says it's under development. I thought the frost staff also said it. If I go back to the fire staff, oh no, it says it when you're hovering over it. Okay, never mind. Anyways, both of them are under development, so I'm assuming that golem will eventually drop a sapphire. We also went ahead and looked at potion brewing here in a sec, once I remember that happened. Also, a lot of the things want you to have like 100% memories before you can do anything with the last few things, once we hover over them by the teleporter. So I guess you have to have 100% memories of every single creature and everything. So maybe it's some way to like summon creatures, is my only guess. I don't know. But here's the potions. You can make an antidote, which I didn't know you could make. Lesser healing potion. I have no clue how you get, actually I do know how you get blood roses and blood petals. That's just from breaking the things around. I also know how to get all of that stuff. It's not too difficult. Don't know how to get all of that stuff though. Probably going into the azure biome. I don't know how you get blood caps though, or blood leaves. So I will have to find out how to make greater health potions eventually. Because those things do seem really good. I think they give you initially like 30 health immediately, and then they give you like 50 health over time. No, it's 25 health. They give you 25 health initially, and if you don't get hit for like 3 seconds, you gain an extra 50% health. You might have noticed when I drunk a lesser healing potion when I fell down the cave, it doesn't give you that 30% health that it says over time. It gives you that 30% health after 3 seconds. So you have to basically not get hit for 3 seconds before it gives you all that health, which makes it a little bit less useful in combat if you're getting hit. But anyways, there's not too much else that happened, as I realized how much leather I need to upgrade the workstation. Cobalt also requires having heavy leather, which I don't have that much of, and I wanted to save to eventually upgrade my workbenches. But we did upgrade my armor station. But yeah, the biggest bottleneck right now is leather, and I'm not gonna lie to you, grinding leather is not too interesting. So I'll just, like, next video, because I didn't get it in this video, I'm just going to go ahead and get a bunch of leather before I start the next video. So I'll just have leather. I'll do some off-camera grinding. I'm not sure if there's any way to actually cheat it in. But there's just an absolute buttload of leather you need. I've noticed that, like, Chippy also complained about that, and I think also Captain Spoko's complained about that. It's just, you need so much leather. Now, to end off the video with, as I realized that other things spawn over time, back in the same structure, the golem also does that, which is just kind of goofy, if you ask me. I think they might need to fix that. I guess it is, like, a good way to get, like, emeralds, but I'm not sure if emeralds are actually used for anything. But yeah, we also went ahead and just bought the apple pie recipe, which I actually haven't looked at the recipe. I don't know how you make it, because you need to do it at the cook station, and by the time I got back to my base, I completely forgot about it. I actually just remembered it because of this clip. So anyways, I hope you all have a good day. And I'll see you in the next one.